Assalamu alaikum everyone. So, I'd like to chip in on the Ballerina farm issue. It has been going viral these past few days. Just to give an overview beforehand, basically there's this couple who live in a farm with their 8 children currently, and they're just living their lives with traditional family values. The wife, Hannah Neilman, is a housewife. She likes to document her daily activities online when she's nursing her children, making food from scratch, such as bread, butter, yogurt, and so on. And her husband is shown as a farmer and provides for his family. They're just the conventional family style that is actually an everyday and a normal type of family, I would say. But the big question is, why are they suddenly so viral on something that's completely irrelevant to their content? People online are accusing the husband of working his wife to death, from taking care of 8 children, making her cook for her family by making organic food, and well, this last one is ridiculous in my opinion. People are actually saying that the husband has deprived Hannah, the wife, of her dream in becoming a ballerina. I mean, what? And all of this originated from one single video and one single article that caused all this fuss. The video I was referring to was where the husband gave Hannah an egg apron for her birthday present instead of tickets to Greece. And people were like, oh, she's living such a sad life. All she wanted was a holiday to Greece from doing all the labor of cooking, giving birth, and milking the cows. But her husband is so abusive that he didn't even care to take Hannah for a short break on a holiday. And there's also an article that somehow was used to confirm all this quote unquote abusive husband and made people so furious, you guys, and suddenly showering Hannah with all this sympathy. While this article is for me, it just represents manipulative journalism and felt like I was reading a gossip column actually, because it just doesn't relay the facts and was so biased. It was dominated by the writer's poor and feminist opinions. This led people to believe more in what the journalist had to say, instead of laying out the facts as plainly as possible to give an open interpretation. According to the reader's conclusion, the writer chose to give a very subjective and cynical perspective. For all we know, this couple likes to make content, sharing their daily life as farmers. They are business owners named Ballerina Farm, which is their trademark. And to add to people's surprise, the husband Daniel Neilman is a very wealthy man. His family owns big businesses, and one of them is an airline company. So yeah, wealthy people. This wealth is actually no surprise because they do own a farm. The definition of being a farmer in the Western countries is very different from the definition that Indonesians are usually exposed to. Being a farmer in the Western countries means you own the land and you cultivate it for livestock purposes, vegetable farming, etc. So you're basically a business owner, and it takes wealthiness to be a farmer. It needs huge capital to build a farm. And this is way different to how Indonesians view people that become farmers. Farmers, or in Bahasa Petani or Peternak, is unfortunately known as poor people. I guess this is derived from the little pay that farmers get on a daily or even a monthly basis. So there is a misconception going on here in Indonesia. The ones who own the land are not considered farmers because usually these landowners or farm owners don't dwell with the farming activities by themselves. Instead, they hire other people to cultivate their land and take care of the livestock, and then these workers get paid by the actual landowners. So that's point number one. This family is a wealthy family. They can go on a vacation anytime they want and wherever they want. It's no big deal for the husband or even Hannah as the wife to spend money however they choose to. I mean, she even has a $12,000 stove, guys. That's something serious. She is gonna be A-okay. Secondly is the case where people accuse Daniel, the husband, as an abusive husband. He is portrayed as a patriarchal man that has succeeded in luring Hannah into traditional conventional way of life, giving birth to 8 kids without being permitted to have an epidural, cooking every single meal organically, milking the cows, and all those misleading narratives. All the while, she wanted to become a ballerina and see the world and become a free woman. All those feminist narratives that is always shoved down our throats in today's world. Well, for all I can say, we don't know. We don't know for real if she's miserable or not, just from merely watching the content they upload it online with a conscious mind. So I have no idea where all this sympathy boat came from. From my perspective, she is living her best life. I can see that she chose to live this kind of life, and I know I don't get to judge her just because she decided on something that I would never do. Okay, she had a dream in becoming a ballerina. She already got into Juilliard, which is one of the most prestigious schools in the world. And she got married, and that's where she became miserable? Is that it? Oh, come on. I think she wanted this life. She decided to become a housewife and have lots of children, cook for them, and milk the cows every day. What's so wrong about that? See, this is where I find it so problematic with all these feminist narratives going around in the society. They say that feminists really want to uphold the rights of women to make their own choices in their lives. These feminists with their ridiculous values such as women should be free, she should have the right to work wherever, whenever, and however they want, and no one can tell them otherwise. Women should not be forced to give birth and blah blah blah. But when a woman makes a different choice that does not align with these feminist narratives, she is immediately labeled as an oppressed woman, and of course, the husband or the father or her whole family is obviously abusive and oppressors. These families are so biased, and personally, I can say they don't represent me at all as a woman. Their values are so misleading and are actually the source of problems in today's society. They are oblivious and ignorant towards women who do have the dream in becoming a wife, a stay-at-home wife, a housewife, a mother. Despite having high education degrees and tons of potentials, being a stay-at-home wife and a mother, all this does fulfill them entirely. And this decision does not make them weak and oppressed. But these feminists would obviously call these women the conventional types or even the oppressed ones. I don't feel oppressed, and none of these so-called conventional women feel that way. I am having the best times of my life as a stay-at-home wife. I don't have to work or contribute financially for the family. I am protected and provided for by my husband, and I can be a real woman without having to work so hard in order to prove to anyone else that I can excel more than a man. Have I felt tired or exhausted or burnt out from my activities as a stay-at-home wife? My answer is, of course, but that exhaustion does not render me in putting fault into my role as a housewife. Being a housewife is a profession. So you just can't simply say that, oh, she's just a housewife. Every profession has its own challenges. Same goes with other professions out there. And when other people see that you're facing the challenges included in it, it does not mean they can go around and define that as oppression and that you're being oppressed. That just doesn't make any sense. It's really unfair because when people see a woman having to be bedridden due to exhaustion from working a 9 to 5 job or other jobs that are considered modern, such as becoming an influencer and the types, they are not considered oppressed. The husband is not being attacked for being okay with his wife working so hard to be financially independent, while it's actually the husband's job to provide for his wife. But these types of husbands are valued as non-patriarchic men just because they blissfully let their wives work for money. Why are these families being such two-faced people? Hence, I strongly think that Hannah Nealman is not oppressed. Once again, she's just being a mother and a wife and a farmer and a business owner, and on top of that, she is a wealthy woman. Likewise, her husband, Daniel Nealman, is neither an oppressor nor abusive. In my perception, if he was abusive, I don't think his wife would be stupid enough to just sit there and let her be abused and be oppressed. As we can see, she is a bright woman and has lots of potentials. I'm sure she knows what to do if she's being oppressed. But what do we see is the contrary. Hannah is just living her life and trying to boost her business by showcasing it in the form of farm life. You can see she is now selling Ballerina farm products and constantly expanding her farm. Which part of her life fits the definition of being oppressed? I don't see any. So why, people? Chill. Let this kind of women live their lives. Don't shove your ridiculous narratives and assumptions just because you are forced to provide for your own life and can't enjoy life as much as these housewives do. Just respect our choices. And I'm sorry if the choices that we made is out of tune with your absurd feminist movements.